Yo, this is the Christopher Complex of the Christopher Complex Show. Coming at you, it's Tuesday, it's a nice day in New York City, that's where I am. Hopefully where you are is pretty cool. This is the Christopher Complex Show, and this show is about being complex. Not being complex, like complicated or anything like that, but we are complex. Sometimes we want to do this, sometimes we want to do that. Sometimes we want to say this, and sometimes we want to say that. And that is just a fact. So yesterday I was going to come at you, and we were just having some technical difficulties. We're going to talk about that stop and frisk thing that the mayor of New York City, ex-mayor Bloomberg, had apologized to the black community and Hispanic community about stop and frisk. And it was all over the news. And I just had one thing to say about it. Is that I remember a couple of weeks ago, I guess some people were appalled or questioned or were upset or felt that the thing that happens when sometimes something may happen to the black community, and then we become very forgiving. And I looked at the stop and frisk thing, and I was just like, is this apology another instance of, I'm just going to go and say I'm sorry, and it will be automatically accepted? The program, this may sound wild, but is it the programming of turn the other cheek? And I know I talked to some individuals in the community, and they were like, I just, frustrated that it feels that we always have to lay down to an atrocity that happened to us. We always have to be the ones that console and comfort and give a hug and, offer something to eat at the end of an incident. And some people online, you can see it, pretty hot about it. I'm not going to lie, sometimes it's puzzling to see that, somebody's family was just lost tragically, and then there's this exchange of, I guess, unconditional love is what they're trying to show, or forgiveness. I don't know. But when I saw that the mayor had apologized at the Christian Culture Center in Brooklyn, which is in East New York, close to Starrett City, close to Gateway Center, did he walk out saying that was enough? And did the community walk out and say to him that was enough? I think, ironically, I'm not a member of the church, but I think it's safe to say that most of the people that, or half the people that he should apologize to, are the actual people that were stopped and frisked. So if you go to church, most likely, adults over the age of who was stopped and frisked, the parents was maybe who he was apologizing to, and definitely the grandparents. And did they even know that stop and frisk existed at that time? Did they even know? So, like, for instance, if you go on the New York City Liberties Union website, nyclu.org, if you look at the stop and frisk data, and not to go through the whole thing because I really want to get into something else with you guys, and announce something that I think will be fun. If you go into the New York Civil Liberties Union website, they have statistical information on stop and frisk, data. And just in 2011, there's a bunch of years, but I picked the highest year. In 2011, 685,724 NYPD stops were recorded. Just emphasis on the word recorded. Recorded. Is there anything unrecorded? And then out of that number, 328 were innocent. So 88% of those 685,724 stops, 88% of that innocent. 350,743 were black. That's 53%. 223,740 were Latin or Latino, and that was 34%. 61,805 were white, 9%. Staggering numbers. 341,581 were aged 14 to 24. That was in 2011. It's 2019, going on 20. And that was between ages of 14 to 24. 51% of that huge number, 685,724. 51% was a 14-year-old to a 24-year-old. As a dad that has a 15-year-old, I can imagine how a father would feel that his 14-year-old son was stopped and frisked just cause. That's basically what that was about. I see you just cause I have the right. I can just pull you over, stop you, and frisk you. And the mayor went to CCC to apologize to a community, East New York, and do that. Now, on the flip side, was East New York the greatest? Most people are going to tell you East New York is not a great neighborhood. But if you look at anything, usually that 3% is not good, and the other 97% is just quiet, and that's why it wasn't good, because that 3% is just extremely loud. But I was going to talk to you guys about this in depth yesterday. Like I said, we had some technical difficulties, but I want to say, when I thought about it, I thought about two things. Is it another instance where African Americans and now Latinos should just accept the apology and lay down and give you a hug and get you something to eat? And is it also a situation where we're in this country with the president that we have that doesn't respect the office that he holds? Is it more important to make sure that we have a candidate or candidates that can defeat Donald Trump? And that's on both sides of the bird, because even the Republicans can challenge him for his seat. Don't forget that. So is it more important for us to just get the right person, and depending upon their past, maybe just say, okay, we're going to forgive you for that, because it's more important that we get a better president, regardless if he's Republican or Democrat? So this is not a, Bloomberg is going to defeat the Republican thing. This is about stop and frisk and the importance of getting candidates. And then how does African American, and now they like to say brown people, and I don't know where the hell they're getting all of this from, but how does African Americans especially and Latino Americans supposed to digest this thing when this was going on for almost 10 years of this stop and frisk? And if you go on the website that I called off, the numbers are staggering. I just picked 2011. Imagine what happened in 2010 and 9, 12. High numbers in those years. Over 2 million. Easy. So, is it really important for us to just get the best candidates, or for people to stand up and say, I can defeat Donald Trump and bring a better president to the office, regardless if he's Republican or Democrat? And then how do we digest this, thing? I just think that the community should say to Bloomberg, all is forgiven. However, you have money. Money is energy. And maybe in that community, real change should happen. Real resources should be put into it. Not another basketball team to get the kids off the street. Not another police athletic league so that the police can, be friends with the kids on the street. Something like a center that teaches you how to build your business and what businesses to put in your neighborhood, so you don't have 40 nail salons, 40 hair stylists, and 4 restaurants serving the same thing, and everybody thinks that they have the best of that same kind of cuisine. So anyway, I just wanted to talk to y'all about that yesterday. That was yesterday's news. And if you have a comment, that's cool, But what I really wanted to get into, so before I get into it, just to make sure we end it off, should our, African American, Latino people just accept the apology, or should they accept the apology and push for resources? And is it more important that we just get the right candidate? Oh, another note, Reverend Al cleared it up. Reverend Al Sharpton, people going to say, I don't like Reverend Al Sharpton. Do your history, do your research before you say that. He said it's better that Bloomberg apologizes, because the other cities in America that adopted Stop and Frisk will now see that the author of Stop and Frisk says it's wrong. And then they will say, okay, this is outdated, it's wrong, and they'll stop. So he said across the board, that's why it was good for him to say it, regardless of his motivation to say it. Kind of like a chess move is what Al Sharpton is saying. Yeah, we may believe that you're not serious about it, but the apology might reverberate around the country and tell other cities to stop doing Stop and Frisk. So that's that. And because the show is complex, let's talk about something else. So what I really want to talk about, and I'm going to try to get this across real quick. I was talking to somebody, and I was just really reminiscent about music in terms of bands. There's a lot of button pushing. I have buttons to push too, when I produce. But I also have guitars and drums and stuff like that. And I just said, you know what, man, I miss the fact that there are no more R&B, soul, funk bands. And then I thought, well, who said that soul, funk, R&B was old? Classical music lasted, I'm quite sure, more than 200 years. And no one says it's old. They call it classical, which maybe be a slick word for old. But I don't even think it's a slick word for old. But soul is not that old. And who said it was old? Who said that R&B has no more highway to travel? Who said that blues has no more color to paint? No more blue to paint? Who said that? Who said a band is no more valuable? Who the hell said that? Who said that, and why did they say it? And did they say it because they can't play it? Did they say it because they can't play it? So I'm looking at it like this. I'm like, you know what? Instead of us fighting for funk and soul to come back, we don't need to fight. We just need to play it. That's it. Just play. So listen, I'm going to announce that I'm going to do something in my community about it. And I think what we need to do is go back to the scene, the creation of a scene, and just build it up from the grassroots and see how far the grassroots turn into a tree and branch off back into something else. So, you do have things like Afro pop, and you have all of this, these festivals, but not something that comes around once, a year. Something that grows. So it's like, I don't know about you, man, but when I look at Purple Rain, you just want to dive into that movie and be like, I want to get out of the house and go see some bands that make me dance. And who said bands are not supposed to make you dance. There's nothing wrong with the DJ. DJ's fine. But who the hell said a DJ is the only one that can make you dance? Who said that? Who said a DJ is the only one that can tell you what you should be doing with your music? Like, and so what happens is you get a situation where there's a party, and in that party there's never a slow music section like it used to be. How you fall in love on a dance floor when your blood is just pumping? You ain't gonna do nothing. Man, I remember I went to this party, nobody could dance, and when they got up to dance, it was just sexual gyration. I mean, you may say, well, everybody does that. Yeah, but it wasn't like whining or something. This thing was awkward looking, man. It looked like two spiders was jumping on each other or something like that. It was bad. But who said that R&B bands can't perform anymore? Who killed that? So I'm just going to say it like this. I'm going to put this thing back together. Summer, hopefully spring, we're going to do a battle of the bands in Brooklyn. Battle of the R&B funk bands, or funk R&B soul bands, whichever way. And another thing we're not going to do, we're going to get rid of the damn popularity contest, because that sometimes is wrong. Because if you have 400 people in the audience for you, of course you're going to win. Here's a true story. A long time ago, me and my boys, we did the Apollo. Not me, I didn't actually do it. I was managing them. And we did the Apollo Top Dog competition. So it was the day you get the top dog of the year. Of all the acts that did amateur night at the Apollo, the real thing, not the Showtime TV show, the real thing in Harlem, 125th. We got to the point where they had the best acts of the year, and it was called Top Dog, and you supposed to go in there and just, do it. So it was a big thing that day. It was so big that, they sent ABC News to the house. And my friend's mother, whose living room we practiced in, oh man, when she found out the news was coming, she just got on the phone and ordered all new furniture to be delivered in 2 hours. Victorian looking furniture. It was the slickest and dopest thing. That lady was about love. So we get to the Apollo that night after they do the interview and it's all on TV. And long story short, we get to the Apollo, man. We got the suits on. So this was how the act was supposed to go. It was supposed to be, one cat was supposed to be doing Ralph Tresvant's side of Can You Stand the Rain. Another cat would do a Johnny Gill side of Can You Stand the Rain. But we got a little slick and we were like, we're going to put in, because I think they said, can you make the show a little bit longer? So we said, we're going to put in Sensitivity first verse and a Johnny Gill first verse, maybe Wrap My Body Tight or something like that, whatever album it was that came out. And then we were going to blend the two into Can You Stand the Rain, finish the night off, win, take the trophy, and then, I don't know, go to the freaking 24-hour diner and get some pancakes. I don't know what we were going to do, but we were going to win this thing. And everybody was rooting for us, including the son of the original host. He had showed up, and he was like, I heard about you cats. You guys are good. You should be able to get a record deal and shoot off from here and just go off into the sunset. And we were like, well, we hope so. So that night, all of the dopest talent was out there. And we did our set. We got off stage and we were like, yo, y'all sounded good. And he made a point. Just do what you've been doing all year and you should be able to win this thing. Everybody was rooting for us. They were like, you guys are so good. You guys are good. You guys look good. And my friend who's doing Ralph Tresvant, he's such a ladies man. He was, I guess a ladies man. He was such a pimp and he was just like soaking it all in. Anyway. So we do it. They take us out there, and real quick, they start doing the Kiki Shepard thing. They put their hand over your head, and you yell. So they yelled for my group, and we were like, yeah, we're going to win this. And then all of a sudden, like 2 acts down, they put their hand over another group, and the audience erupted in this huge roar. So obviously, by contest of popularity, they won. Man, you talking about some hurt feelings. So we go back to stage, and the funny thing about show business is, when the show is over, all that, hanging out in the dressing room stuff, that goes out the window quick. So, we got to get out of there. So the guy comes back, the host comes back, and he says, man, I don't know what happened, but I'm going to find out. And we were like, okay. I mean, they won. Obviously, he said, nah, they wasn't as good as you. I'm going to find out. Very quickly, he came back. He said, there's 4 buses from Virginia behind the Apollo, and those buses belong to that act. They got everybody in their neighborhood to come up to New York for the day and cheer them on. And they bought tickets, and they got in, and they won. That's how you guys lost. And I was like, okay, so if you can manipulate the popularity in an arena, some of these shows that's on TV, they do it by popularity. Everybody says, well, they won because they voted. Doesn't mean it was the good one. Doesn't mean that was the one that should have won. So if we're going to do this battle of the bands, battle of the funk, R&B, soul bands, we're going to take the popularity vote and diminish it, because it should be a different kind of meter, a different kind of measurement stick. Like, for instance, it should be a booty meter. That's right, I said it, a booty meter. In other words, if your booty don't start moving, then you ain't hot. It should be another meter that how mad was you when the other band came on and just tore your mouth out because you wasn't that hot. Those should be the meters that will determine who was the baddest band. And then you'll put a little bit of popularity in there, but it should be some technical stuff in there. You should have to have a drummer, no drum machine only. You should have to have a rhythm section, just those 2 parts, drums and rhythm. And then anything that you layer on top of that, you should have to have that. And we should be able to say in that contest, okay, so let's just break it down like this. Even though this is about the bands, this guy had the baddest drummer, this guy didn't, or this guy had the baddest guitar player of the night, and then on top of that, the baddest singer, and then the overall is, this is the baddest band that made the crowd move to original music, maybe a cover or 2, because that's also something that you got to watch out for too. That's a little slick popularity trick. If I play the dopest cover, I might win. It should just be about who made the crowd rock. That's what it should be about. Kind of like Purple Rain. Because if you look at Purple Rain, Morrison at the time was in there to just tear that whole thing out. And Prince was up there trying to get all complicated after he did Let's Go Crazy and just, speak a message to, Apollonia and the audience. He was on some personal stuff, as they said in the movie. This ain't no personal stuff. It should just be a battle of the funk, R&B, soul bands. Now, what do I have against rock? Nothing. But I think that should have its own category too, because rock is just so expansive. Or maybe we blend all of it together. But I'm going to put this thing together. So if y'all know anybody, or if you a band and you think you got the stuff, not to say I'm the baddest guy. No, if you think you got the stuff to make people not be able to find their car after they leave, to make people get on the phone and say you gotta come. If you got the stuff, where somebody says, I just found the next Funkadelic or something like that, or I found the time or whatever, or I found, the next Ohio Players, because again, who the heck said funk, soul, R&B is old? It just started. I think somebody said something, maybe some capitalist said it, but who the hell said that? Because people still listen to this music in their car, and the reason why they keep listening to old Earth, Wind, and Fire records is because they can't find no new ones. It doesn't have to be from Earth, Wind, and Fire, but it just, come on. You mean to tell me that there's a bunch of kids out here and none of them want to be in a band? And they don't even have to be kids. You mean to tell me there's a bunch of adults that been wanting to do this thing and they finally got an opportunity to do it, and there's nobody out here to support that? We're going to have the battle of the R&B funk bands in Brooklyn this spring. We're going to probably get the best of 3, the best of 4, and simple booty meter. Matter of fact, I think what I'm going to do is get a ruler and walk around the damn audience and measure how much a booty swings from its hips from side to side, and maybe a hand up in the air meter, and just, I said it, some stupidness like that, and a sweat meter. There you go. Like, we'll get a bounty towel and we just like wipe the damn sweat and just see how much sweat is off your damn forehead. And if the band can make your ass sweat, and not because it's hot in there, because you that dope, or if the band can make you feel like you in a euphoric state, like listening to Prince do Gold live or something like that, then you win. Anyway, this is the Christopher Complex. So if y'all interested in this, if you're a band, or matter of fact, if you're a new artist or an artist, old artist, forget about the title of new. If you're an artist starting out, been doing it, you got something you want to share, you want me to review, I want to review it and let people know, hey, this is what you should be listening to. If you whack, just practice. Listen, I knew when I was whack. Just go and practice. I'm gonna be here. Just send me a note at the Chris Complex and just say, hey man, check me out. If you don't have all your stuff together, I don't care about that. I don't need no super duper pretty website. If you think your stuff is ready to be reviewed, just find a way to hit me up about it, and we'll do that. And then on top of that, I'm planning on doing some things to help our artists get to where they need to go. As I learned some things over the last few months and years, we could probably help each other out. But let's create that scene. Let's start in Brooklyn, and maybe if it turns out cool in Brooklyn, we'll head down to Dixieland or the South and just see. I know there's some funk R&B bands down there. I don't care how old you are. Let's kick it. And if you can rock a crowd, you can get in. But this battle of the bands, it may have to be more than one battle in order to get everybody through. And that's all going to depend upon sponsorship, audience participation, and we could just do things on Facebook. We can do whatever, anything we want. But instead of me complaining about it, I think I'm going to try to do something about it. And I'll bring my band out, Optimus Funk, if I still, can find them dudes. But, I'm not going to be in the contest because I don't have to be. Ha ha. So anyway, let's see what we can do with this. Let's get up. Let's make something happen. This is the Chris Complex you can go on Twitter, and I think you'll find me there. The Chris Complex on Twitter, and just hit me up, and let's see if we can get some funk going, man, and let's see if we can do some stuff like that. Also, before I leave, we're going to talk about that Morris Day book and that Prince book. Some of y'all already read it. Let's have a conversation about that. Let's have a, what would we call it, a get together over that book. Yeah, and we'll talk about it. So this is the Christopher Complex, and hit me up at the Chris Complex on Twitter, and we'll make something happen. Peace.